RFID tags. You hear about them everywhere. You hear about them on the plane, the bus, and even on your local radio news networks. But what exactly are they? Well, nobody really knows. And that's what this video is for, not just an A+, but to inform the good people. Well, RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification, and it's a little chip with data on it that can be read remotely. But you ask, why not just use barcodes or write it down? Well, barcodes are dandelions compared to RFID tags. But again, you ask, how can I learn all of this? There is so much to learn. Well, the experts will be going over where they came from, how they work, why you would want to use them, what you can use them for, how many grapes I can stuff in my and how secure they are. But first, we must go over
RFID tags were first invented by a British professor named Watson Watt in 1935. It was a very simple device that only contained one bit of information. It could only tell if it was on or off. It had limited uses due to its minuscule storage, and its uses were further limited due to the availability to only military personnel. It was used to tell if a plane was friendly or not. A received signal through radar as on would denote the plane as friendly. A signal of off would tell of some error, while no signal at all would determine its hostility. Later on, the technology was patented in 1973 by Los Alamos Lab to keep track of nuclear material. Since the technology had not yet been fully commercialized, it allowed secrecy for the lab because no one else could read what they had labeled their material. The lab patented the data because they had discovered a new way to add complexity to the original model. The addition of rewritable complex binary data that would be picked up through radio rather than radar. Later on, the government adopted the technology for agricultural uses. Because of its complex data system, it allowed specific farms to better keep up with the information on their crops and livestock. It kept track of their current and prospective diseases, feeding habits, medical treatments, introduced chemicals, and other important information. As time went on, and as time goes on, the technology becomes increasingly cheap and abundant. The RFID system has three major parts: a scanning antenna to pick up the data, a transceiver with decoder to interpret the data into usable information, and a transponder, the RFID tag itself, with the information stored on it. The antenna puts out short-range radio frequency, RF signals, that collect the information from the tag and also provide the tag with a power source in case of most RFID tags, known as passive RFID. These tags do not contain any batteries whatsoever and can last practically forever due to this quirk of the technology. These antennas are versatile and can either be permanently fixed to a surface or attached to a handheld device. Once an RFID tag enters the field of the scanning antenna, the tag itself detects the signal from the antenna and immediately transfers its information to the antenna. While most RFID tags are passive, many choose to use their active RFID tags. These specific tags have their own power source, meaning they have a significantly smaller lifespan in comparison to the passive tags. However, this is balanced by these tags being able to transfer their information over much larger distances. Despite still having a lower lifespan, being larger in size and being more expensive than the passive tags, these active tags can still have up to a 10-year lifespan. Now that you know what RFID tags are and where they come from, it's imperative to know why one would want to use these devices. It's very advantageous to use over, say, barcodes for a multitude of reasons. As stated before, it has a significantly longer lifespan even if it's not a passive RFID tag, because even the active ones have up to a 10-year lifespan. It has no moving parts and is less likely to break down when compared to other technologies. It is more resistant than even barcodes because it takes more than a simple scratch or a drop of water to ruin it. They can be placed in extreme environments and take little to no hardware damage. They do not have to be visible to work properly and therefore can be put in clothing and other material without a loss in data. They can be read in low light or no light because they do not work optically. The range can also be freely adjusted to anywhere between a few feet to 100 feet. They can be scanned more quickly and more than one at a time, making them perfect for warehouse and factory inventory. They can be entirely scanned in the small time frame of less than 100 milliseconds and can be read by the hundreds. These devices are so useful that large organizations such as Walmart and the U.S. Department of Defense have in fact made it mandatory for their vendors to keep track of supply with RFID tags in order to make it more efficient in their supply chain. It's also a more reliable form of tracking as every individual tag contains its own serial number called a Unique Identity Code, or UIC, that cannot be easily counterfeited. This makes it significantly more difficult to fake a tag and claim it's from a company that it is, in fact, not from. Despite the technology being extremely useful, it is in no way to be considered perfect. Currently, individual tags are expensive to make and not always viable for smaller groups. Sometimes the scanner's signals can interfere and cause an issue with the data. It can often receive incorrect data if not used properly, resulting in more incorrect inventory numbers. On top of this, RFID tags are subject to some serious security issues that will be discussed later in this video.
RFID tags sure sound useful, huh? As time goes on, these tags will get cheaper and cheaper. Eventually, they will be both available and viable to the average consumer who will be able to go to the store and buy a pack of 10 tags for $1. Once they eventually reach that height, tags will be used for anything and everything. I mean, here's just scratching the surface of what they can and will be used for. Farm animals, grocery shopping, credit cards, warehouse stock, lost pets, warranties, red key cards, pet door locks, poker chips, races, surgery information, battery chargers, razor blades, tourism guides, museums, shopping, video games, medication, music discs, allergy information, mail delivery, corporate files, firefighters, library books, terms and uses on consumer products, toothbrushes, business cards, hotel room service, calendars, glasses, expiration dates, insulin shots, gun control, ebooks, laundromats, USB sticks, wireless controllers, lost children, dubstep, and restaurant menus. Despite being as useful as they are, RFID tags are subject to a few massive security issues. Certain antennas can be adjusted to read tags over extremely long distances, meaning that malicious users could easily steal information. Imagine a man being able to walk into a room with one of these, and he suddenly stole the credit card information of every person in that room. Precautions can be made and will be made to prevent that, but it's always a possibility that these will be overcome. Encryption can only go so far. This can also be done on larger scales. Corporate espionage and even international spying are introduced to a whole new level. On top of that, there's a large issue with privacy to consider. If these tags are left unregulated, or indeed too regulated, tags could be imprinted by the government at birth to control the population. Corporations could keep track of every single customer in order to manipulate them further. RFID tags can be easily destroyed with dedicated devices such as microwave emitters, but an extra precaution still must be taken to simply keep one's own privacy. In conclusion, RFID tags are an extremely useful technology that can be either abused or put to fantastic use to further technological progress as a whole. Like it or not, RFID tags are going to be around, and they will soon be integrated into almost every consumer product and government organization. However, information is key to understanding the technology. Know how these tags work, know what they can do, and know how they can be abused. Keep yourself informed, and we all stand to profit from this technology. Good luck, and always be in the know.
They can be read in low light or no light because they do not work optically.
Is that like
optically out?
What about Opticles? Is that like the new Greek god? Yeah, Opticles.
Opticles.
He's got 4 eyes.
It can see through anything.